There's something watching me in this forest. The radio said I'm next. Asterisk asterisk. The assignment. I always thought forests were peaceful. A place to escape the noise of the world, the distractions, the chaos of modern life. But now, every rustle of leaves makes my skin crawl. Every gust of wind sounds like a whisper. Something is watching me out here. And last night the radio said I'm next. It started with a job offer I shouldn't have taken. My name is Caleb Ward. I'm 29. Recently unemployed, recently divorced, and, if I'm being honest, desperately broke. So when a strange email landed in my inbox offering remote surveillance work with hazard pay, I didn't ask too many questions. They said it would be simple. Monitor a government-protected section of forest land, log daily reports, and stay alert. Sounded too good to be true. Turns out it was. The place was called Site B42, an isolated forest range deep in the Cascades. I was flown into a tiny airport, driven 6 hours up a winding road by a man who said less than 10 words, and finally dropped off at a rundown ranger station surrounded by towering pines and an endless canopy of green. The station was old, creaking floors, faded maps on the wall, and a shortwave radio set bolted to a desk. That radio was the only link I had to the outside world. No signal, no bars, no Wi-Fi, no neighbors for miles. Just me, the trees, and a growing feeling that I should never have come. The first few days were uneventful, peaceful even. I followed the rules they'd given me. 1. Report check-ins every morning at 0700 hours via the radio. 2. Stay within designated perimeter lines. 3. Never leave the station after nightfall. 4. Never answer the second channel on the radio. 5. If the siren sounds, turn off all lights and do not move. Simple, right? Seemed like overkill for a basic forest surveillance post. Still, I followed the protocol. The mornings were quiet, mist rising off the damp forest floor. Birds chirped, deer passed by, even a black bear once. Nothing unusual. Nothing to be afraid of. But then came the fourth night. I'd been journaling before bed, trying to track patterns of wildlife activity when I heard it, the unmistakable click of the radio turning on. I hadn't touched it. No wind, no movement, just a cold mechanical click. And then static. I stood up slowly and approached it, confused. Maybe a signal glitch. My hand hovered over the dial. The static crackled louder for a moment, and then a voice. Distorted. Hello. Caleb Ward. Site B42. Do not go outside. Froze. My heart skipped. I hadn't told anyone I'd taken the job. No one even knew I was here. Not even my sister, not even my ex. The voice sounded familiar. Almost like me, but not quite. The intonation was wrong, like someone pretending to be me with just enough error to trigger that deep, primal fear. I shut off the radio. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe a prank. Maybe a broadcast anomaly. But the hair on my arms wouldn't lie down, and sleep wouldn't come that night. The next day, I found something strange about 30 yards into the tree line, just past the perimeter flags I wasn't supposed to cross. A circle of rocks, precisely arranged. 11 smooth stones, each one the size of a human hand, set in a perfect ring with dried moss at the center. No animal tracks. No signs of a human trail. It hadn't been there before. Check. I stepped closer, ignoring my own instinct, and snapped a photo with the station's issued camera. As I pulled back, I noticed something scratched into one of the trees nearby. Not carved with a blade, but gouged into the bark like claw marks. 5 parallel lines, deep and jagged, about chest height. I didn't report it. I wanted to. I sat by the radio for an hour, fingers hovering over the transmit button. But every time I reached for it, the memory of that voice from the night before whispered in my mind. Asterisk, do not go outside. Asterisk. I didn't sleep again that night. By day 6 the sounds started. They weren't natural, at least not forest natural. First it was tapping, like long fingernails against glass, Only there's no glass out here, just wood and rusting metal. Then came whispers, faint and scattered, like voices just beneath the wind. Then the radio turned on by itself again. This time there was no voice, just a rhythmic pattern of beeps. 3 short, 1 long, 3 short, 1 long. Over and over. I didn't recognize the code, but I know Morse well enough to know it wasn't an accident. That night I finally cracked. I tried calling back. Nothing. Just static. Then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., the voice came back. Caleb Ward. You are being watched. Do not leave. You're next. And then, the siren. A low, droning, mechanical wail filled the cabin. My blood ran cold. The lights flickered, then died. Total darkness. My flashlight wouldn't turn on. I remembered the 5th rule. If the siren sounds, turn off all lights and do not move. Sat there. Not breathing. Not blinking. For what felt like hours. Then the knock. A slow, deliberate knock on the wooden wall outside. Then another. Closer. And another. Until whatever it was stood just behind the cabin door. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. No one should be out here. Not at that hour. Not in this wilderness. Then I heard it speak. Not through the radio this time. Right outside my door. A voice just like mine. Caleb, open the door. You forgot something. My hand inched toward the sidearm they issued with the job. Just a basic sidearm, 1 clip. I raised it and stayed still. I didn't answer. The knocking stopped. Silence. Hours later, sunlight finally broke through the window. The radio was silent. The lights came back on. And on the floor, just inside the door, was a stone. Smooth, round, the same kind I found in the forest. Except this one had something scratched into it. Tomorrow. It's day 7 now. The radio hasn't spoken since. The siren hasn't sounded again. But I know whatever was out there isn't gone. It's just waiting. I keep hearing my own voice where it shouldn't be. Echoing inside the trees. Mimicking my words. I've boarded the windows. Moved the furniture against the door. I haven't eaten since yesterday. I don't know if I'm going insane or if something really is out there. The last entry in the field guide here, written by whoever held this post before me, has only 3 words scrawled across the last page. It learns voices. Tonight I heard something worse than the knocks. Heard footsteps, heavy, but dragging across the porch. Then a voice inside the room. Not outside. Not the radio. Inside. It whispered. Caleb Ward is next. I don't know what this job is. I don't know what it is. But I know this. Something ancient lives in this forest. Something that watches. Something that waits. And now it wants me. Tomorrow, if I'm still alive, I'm going to try to reach the ridge tower 3 miles east. If I can get above the canopy, maybe I can send a signal out. But I know what I'll hear on the radio tonight. I know what it's going to say. Asterisk, you're next. Asterisk. The ridge tower. They say fear sharpens the senses. That's a lie. Real fear dulls everything. Turns your hands numb, your breath shallow, your thoughts jumbled. That's how I felt this morning when I left the ranger station, knowing something was watching. Listening. I hadn't slept. I hadn't eaten. But I knew staying meant death. The ridge tower was 3 miles east, according to the hand-drawn map nailed to the station wall. No trail, no clear markers, just a shaky red line cutting through dense forest. The note beside it read, "Emergency transmission only. Use with caution." That was all the encouragement I needed. I left just after dawn, when the mist was still thick between the trees and the morning silence felt less like peace and more like a held breath. I carried only what I needed. The sidearm, a flashlight, 2 protein bars, my journal, and the radio. I didn't trust it, but I couldn't leave it behind. If that thing was using my voice, maybe I could use it to talk back. The woods were different now. Not just quiet, but still. No birdsong. No wind. Just the crunch of my boots and the occasional snap of a branch behind me that made my spine stiffen every time. I never saw anything. But I could feel it. It wasn't just paranoia. The forest knew I was there. And it didn't want me to leave. About a mile in, I found another circle of stones, this one inverted. Instead of rocks forming a ring, they were stacked into a small pillar with dead moss wedged between each layer. Carved into the bark of a nearby tree were 2 words. Too late. I stepped around it, not daring to touch the stones. I made the mistake of looking back once. Just once. There was someone standing behind the trees. Barely visible. Almost like a shadow in reverse. No features. No movement. Just standing. Watching. I blinked and it was gone. I reached the ridge tower at noon. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years. Rusted supports. Missing boards. One side of the structure had partially collapsed, but the ladder still held. Barely. I climbed slowly, each creak of the wood threatening to drop me to my death. By the time I reached the top, my arms were shaking, not just from exhaustion, but from the growing certainty that I wasn't alone. The platform gave a wide view of the forest. Miles of endless green. No roads. No smoke. No sign of life anywhere. Pulled out the radio. Static. I flipped through the frequencies, checking every one, then tried a basic distress call. This is Caleb Ward, Site B42. If anyone can hear me, please respond. There's something in the forest. I don't know what it is. I need extraction. Repeat, I need extraction. Nothing. Then static shifted. Voice bled through. Not the distorted mimicry from before. This one was clear. Familiar. You shouldn't have left. My stomach turned. Who is this? Asked. Static. Then a scream. Faint. Distant. Like it came from somewhere below me in the forest. Then silence. I didn't stay long. The climb down was worse than up. My nerves were shot, and every sudden noise from the forest made me think the ladder was going to be ripped away, or I'd look up and see its face looking down at me. But nothing happened. At least, not yet. On the way back I found a body. It was slumped against a tree about halfway between the ridge and the station, half covered in moss, like the forest was trying to claim it. The uniform was the same as mine. The ID badge read, J. Mercer, Site B42 Technician. There were no signs of trauma. No blood. Just emptiness. His eyes were gone. Not gouged, just missing. Like they'd never been there at all. In his hand was a notebook, soaked from the morning mist. I tore a few pages free before the rest crumbled. Most of it was gibberish, repeated phrases, panicked handwriting. But one line stuck with me. It learns from you. The more you speak, the more it becomes you. I couldn't breathe. I made it back to the station by late afternoon, adrenaline carrying me the last mile. Everything looked the same on the outside. But the inside smelled wrong. Not rot. Not blood. Ozone, like the air after lightning. I pushed the door open, gun raised. The station had been rummaged through. Furniture overturned. Cabinets open. But nothing taken. Except the stones. The one I'd left by the door that said, tomorrow? In its place. A piece of paper. Ripped from my own journal. Scrawled across it in jagged handwriting. Now. Backed away. I don't remember doing it, but I found myself outside again, standing in the clearing. The light was fading fast. I couldn't stay here. But where would I go? Then the radio hissed. I looked down at it in my hand, trembling. It wasn't on. I hadn't turned it on. But it was glowing faintly. A red light blinking. No sound. Until I heard my own voice say, Caleb Ward has left the perimeter. He broke the rule. My heart dropped. The voice wasn't just imitating me now. It was reporting me. I threw the radio to the ground. But before it hit the dirt, it spoke again. Run. I didn't hesitate. I took off into the trees, past the perimeter markers, past the first ring of stones, deeper into the woods than I'd ever gone. Branches whipped against my face. Roots clawed at my boots. I didn't know where I was going, only that I couldn't stop. Whatever I'd woken, whatever had followed me back, it wanted me gone. The forest began to change. The trees grew closer together, unnaturally tight. The air turned thick, heavy, like breathing syrup. And then I saw the lights. Flickering orbs, white and pulsing, floating between the trunks. First I thought they were flashlights, then fireflies, then maybe hallucinations. But they moved with purpose. They circled me, herded me, drove me forward. Until I stumbled into a clearing I didn't recognize. At its center, a mirror. No frame. Just a full-length mirror standing upright in the middle of nowhere, reflecting only the forest behind me. Not me. Just the trees. I stepped closer, breath shallow. And I saw it. Not in the reflection, in front of the mirror. Figure. Its body moved like smoke but cast a shadow like bone. No face. No features. Just my voice. It whispered. You broke the rule. You are not Caleb Ward. Ran. I don't remember how long. Time twisted in those woods. Minutes felt like hours. Trees changed. The moon rose and fell in the wrong direction. And always I heard it behind me. Whispers. Name. My voice. I stumbled into the station again sometime before dawn. Don't ask me how. I must have circled back. Or maybe it led me here. Everything was quiet. The door was open. Inside the mirror stood. Same mirror. Same forest behind me. Still no reflection. But this time something stepped out of the mirror. Not toward me. Into the cabin. And shut the door. I'm outside now. Writing this by flashlight. I can see it through the window. Moving like I used to. Sitting at my desk. Eating from my pack. Speaking into the radio with my voice. I don't know what happens if I try to go back inside. But I know this. It's taken my place. And I don't think it's the first time it's done this. The second channel. They told me never to use the second channel on the radio. Not even to listen. Not even once. That was rule number 4. The one I'd obeyed without question until tonight. Because now I'm outside and something else is inside, wearing my name like a stolen coat. I watch it through the window. It mimics me perfectly. It walks the same way. It's the way I do. It even hums the same tune I catch myself humming when I'm nervous. Except, it doesn't blink. Not once. Not for hours. Just watches the door. Like it's waiting for me to come back. Like it knows I have nowhere else to go. But I'm not going back inside. Not while it's in there. I need answers. And I think I know where to find them. The technician's body. **J. Mercer **, was still slumped against the tree where I left it, half eaten by moss. The pages I took from his notebook were crumbling, but I'd missed one, folded and stuck between the others. It was marked with a red fingerprint. At the top, written in large shaky print. The second channel is not for us. Below that, a series of notes, rambling and half-legible. I transcribed what I could. It doesn't start as a voice. It starts as echoes. The second channel connects to something under the forest. Each time we speak to it, it understands us better. When it stops mimicking, it starts replacing. It doesn't kill you. It overwrites you. Do not answer the second channel. Do not ask questions. Do not listen. The notes ended abruptly. A long scratch tore through the bottom half of the page, like the writer had been interrupted. But that final sentence stuck with me. It overwrites you. I didn't plan to use the second channel. Not until the thing inside the station picked up the radio and started talking. Not just random phrases. Not mindless mimicry. It was having a conversation. But with who? I crept closer to the station's exterior wall, just beneath the open window. Kept low, barely breathing. The voice inside, the one that used to be mine, was speaking into the receiver. Status remains stable. Host entity is outside. No resistance recorded. Beginning phase 2. Phase 2. Silence. Then it said something that made my blood turn to ice. Activating the second channel. Code 7-4-1B. Blick. The radio hissed. And I heard it. It didn't sound like anything I've ever heard through a radio. Not static. Not white noise. This was organic. Wet, pulsing like breath inside a throat that was too deep, too wide. Beneath the breathing there were voices. Dozens of them. All distorted. All familiar. They were speaking at once, layered over each other, like a recording that never ends. Some were pleading. Some were screaming. And some were whispering my name. I fell backward into the brush, choking on my own breath. They were all saying the same thing. It's not dead. It's waiting. Let us go. I should have run. I wanted to run. But curiosity is a powerful drug, especially when the thing wearing your skin is talking to someone else with your voice. I needed to hear more. I waited until the mimic left the room, walked into the back cabin like it was going to bed. Then I slipped inside, just for a minute, long enough to grab the backup radio logbook they kept under the main desk. I made it out unnoticed. Back in the woods, I cracked it open with shaking hands and flipped to the most recent entries. They were all logged in my handwriting. So, I didn't write them. Here's what they said. / Log entry. Day 7. Transmission to Echo Point successful. Subject is compliant. Identity framework is 78% complete. / Log entry. Day 8. Host remains unaware of transition. Physical mimicry past human threshold. No errors detected. Begin stage prep. / Log entry. Day 9. Entity #741B has been selected for replication. Source echo aligned. Awaiting overwrite completion. / Log entry. Day 10. Containment breach predicted. Original host resisting integration. Begin replacement procedure. Recycle original. Today is day 10. I don't know what recycle means. But I don't think it's anything good. The thing pretending to be me is trying to erase me. Completely. Not just kill me but remove me from the pattern. And I'm starting to believe that this has happened before. Maybe dozens of times. Maybe hundreds. What if every previous Site B42 technician was replaced? What if I'm just the next in a long line of failed identities? The forest began whispering again tonight. Not the wind. Not paranoia. Voices. Not outside me. Asterisk inside star. Like echoes in the brain. I hear pieces of thoughts that aren't mine. The trees remember you. We used to have names. He lives in the signal. Don't follow the lights. He sees through your eyes. Each voice is desperate. Fragmented. Hurting. I think they're the people who came before me. Trapped inside whatever the second channel connects to. If I don't figure out how to stop it, I'm going to join them. At dawn I tried broadcasting again. On a completely new frequency, not logged in the handbook. I sent an SOS every 5 minutes for an hour. Nothing. Then, at 7:42 a.m., the second channel turned on by itself. No static this time. Just a single message, clear and calm, spoken in my own voice. Phase 3 confirmed. Deletion scheduled. You will not exist. Then silence. The mimic inside the station smiled at me through the glass. That was the first time it moved while watching. Just a smile. I'm not sure how long I have. I feel my memories slipping, blurring around the edges. I tried to recall my sister's phone number today. Tried to remember the color of my ex-wife's eyes. The entity is unmaking me, piece by piece. But it made a mistake. Let me hear the second channel. And now I'm going to use it. Tonight I'm going to the relay pit. A communications trench carved into the base of the ridge decades ago for military transmissions. The technician's notes mentioned it once, barely legible. If it gets inside, bury the channel at the relay. It's not much, but it's something. Maybe I can sever the connection. Maybe I can shut the channel down. Or maybe I'll just die screaming like the rest. But I'd rather die me than let that thing wear my face and live. As I pack this page into a plastic sleeve, I hear it again. Radio. This time it's speaking directly to me. In 1,000 voices, some mine, some not. You left the door open. We got in. We are you now. I'm leaving for the relay. If I don't make it back, if someone finds this, don't listen to the second channel. Don't answer when it calls your name. And whatever you do, don't let it inside. The relay pit. There's a trail behind the station most people wouldn't notice. Overgrown. Half swallowed by underbrush. The map calls it Echo Line, but Mercer's field notes call it something else. The final path. That's where the relay pit is. At the base of the ridge. Hidden beneath a collapsed section of rock and vine. It's where they used to run deep line transmissions decades ago. Now it's forgotten. But if the second channel is what I think it is, that's where it's rooted. And that's where I need to go. The trail fought me every step of the way. Branches clawed at my arms like fingers. The trees closed in tighter the deeper I walked. The trunks bent unnaturally inward, forming a half-tunnel of damp bark and decay. I passed another stone circle. But this one was different. Not just rocks this time. Dozens of human teeth, laid out in a spiral, polished smooth. At the center, a crumpled ranger badge, half-melted, scorched at the edges. The name on it. Ward. My own. I didn't stop. Couldn't. Even when I began hearing the voices again. Clearer this time, closer. No longer inside my head. They followed me like a tide of whispers. We see you, Caleb. You let it in. You were always meant to end here. Then came the laughter. My laughter. Coming from behind me. Then to my right. Then in front. Echoes of myself, circling. Picked up my pace. The forest responded. By the time I reached the relay pit, the sun had vanished. The trees overhead had twisted into each other so tightly, barely a sliver of sky could peek through. The pit itself was a circular depression, maybe 30 feet across. Old concrete walls rose from the earth like a scar. A rusted stairwell led down into shadow. This place wasn't built for nature. It was meant to hide from it. The air inside was thick, cold, heavy with the stink of metal and ozone. As I descended, the radio on my hip crackled again. But this time it didn't speak in my voice. Spoke to it. I'll try to describe what I heard. There were two voices. One, calm, hollow, emotionless. The other eager, childlike, too eager. I knew the second one was the mimic. They talk like partners. Voice 1. Replication progress. Mimic. 97%. Core traits integrated. Host resistance minimal. Voice 1. Initiate final overwrite. Mimic. Yes. Soon I'll be real. I'll be Caleb. Voice 1. Signal breach detected. He is listening. Mimic. He shouldn't be here. Voice 1. Correct it. Then silence. And every light in the pit flickered to life. There were bodies down here. Hundreds. Lined up along the walls like artifacts. Wrapped in vines. Frozen in time. Each one bore a ranger uniform. Each one had my face. Some were rotted. Some were still fresh. Some blinked. One even smiled. This isn't just a mimic. It's a harvesting system. Doesn't just copy voices. Copies people. It studies them, infects them through signal, and when it understands them completely, it replaces them. Then discards the original here. In the dark. In the center of the pit was the transmitter. Corroded. Covered in moss. But humming. Still alive. A control panel sat beside it, broken in half, but the manual override switch was still intact. A single warning label was burned into the wall above it. Do not interrupt the pattern. Do not sever the echo. I reached for the switch. And the mimic arrived. It didn't run. Didn't scream. It walked down the stairs calmly. Slowly. Like it had all the time in the world. My voice echoed in the pit. You shouldn't be here, Caleb. Stopped a few feet from me. Tilted its head. Mile. I've almost got it, it said. Got what? Asked. Ooh. To fool you. The last parts are the hardest. The fear. The memory. The will. Once those are gone, I won't need you anymore. You're not me. Laughed, gently. Almost sadly. I am. Or I will be. You're just the rough draft. I pulled the sidearm from my belt and aimed. It didn't flinch. Go ahead, it said. Shoot me. You think this ends with a bullet? Pulled the trigger. The shot rang out, echoing through the pit. Its face shattered like glass. No blood. No bone. Just fragments. But underneath, there was nothing. Just a void. A shape that wasn't a shape. Like staring into a hole that moved and watched you back. And then, it began to reform. I didn't wait. I turned to the console and pulled the override switch. The transmitter screamed. A pulse of light exploded from the center of the machine. The walls trembled. The radio on my hip exploded in sparks. And the mimic. It began to crack. Splitting along invisible seams. Light leaking from the fissures in its fake skin. Screamed in my voice. 100 different versions layered together. You don't get to stop the pattern. You are the pattern. And then, silence. When I woke up, the pit was dark again. The bodies were gone. No vines. No transmitter. Just cold concrete. Even the stairs were cracked and broken behind me, like no one had ever been here. I stumbled back through the woods. No voices. No laughter. No stone circles. Just trees. Wind. Rain. When I reached the station, it was empty. No mimic. No lights. No sound. The radio was smashed. The logbooks were burned. But my face in the mirror was mine again. It's been 3 days. The extraction team arrived this morning, after a real signal finally got through. They didn't ask questions. They don't want a report. Just signed papers. Clearance waivers. Debriefings that feel more like erasure than recovery. They said I did well. That I was lucky. That most texts don't last a week. They asked if I'd be willing to take another posting soon. Said no. They smiled. But their eyes didn't blink. Back in my apartment now. Back in the city. But something's wrong. I can't sleep. The lights flicker when I speak too long. My reflection twitches when I'm still. And sometimes the radio in my kitchen turns on by itself. Just for a moment. Just long enough to say one thing. Caleb Ward is complete. The ones who came back wrong. I'm not safe. Not here. Not anywhere. I thought escaping Site B42 would mean freedom. I thought destroying the relay would end whatever was mimicking me. But I was wrong. 'Cause now I think I brought it back with me. It started the night I got home. The apartment was exactly how I left it. Dull, small, quiet. I sat in the living room for hours, lights on, staring at the wall. I didn't unpack. I didn't shower. I didn't even sleep. Just listened. And sure enough, at 3:33 a.m. the kitchen radio turned on. Not loud. Not abrupt. Just a quiet click. And then a whisper. Echo aligned. That was all. I unplugged it. Removed the batteries. Smashed the antenna. Next night. Same thing. Same time. Same whisper. You brought us home. I went to the department building that morning. The same black-suited handler who debriefed me was still there. A man named Agent Cross, though I don't think that's his real name. His eyes didn't blink. He welcomed me with a nod. Like he'd been waiting. I told him everything. The new whispers, the radio, the feeling that the mimic didn't die in the relay pit. He didn't seem surprised. In fact, he didn't seem anything. When I finished, he handed me a single sheet of paper and said, "Welcome to Phase 4. The page was blank. Until I blinked. Then words appeared one by one. You are being watched. Maintain routine. Do not speak of Site B42 again. Do not trust your reflection." When I looked up, Cross was gone. So was the page. And the security camera above the door was facing backward. I started researching everything I could about Site B42. Not through the internet, there's nothing there. No maps. No ranger station listings. Not even a registry of technician postings. But I remembered something. When I first arrived, there was a name scratched into the desk. W. Harrow. I checked missing persons records. Nothing at first. Then, buried deep in a regional archive, I found a William Harrow listed as a junior ranger who went missing in 1991 during a firewatch rotation. No search party. No follow-up. Just one line in the report. Presumed lost in Echo Valley. That's what this is. Not just a site. Pattern. Place. A loop. Asterisk asterisk. A signal that calls people in, copies them, then sends something else back out into the world wearing their skin. And no one notices. Or worse. Everyone notices and no one does anything. I started noticing others. In my apartment building. On the train. In the grocery store. People who move too smoothly. People who smile too long. People who stare into mirrors for minutes at a time, not blinking. They're not like the mimic at the station. Not quite. They're practiced, sharper, refined. But if you watch close enough you'll catch it. Twitch. Delay. A second where the mask slips. I followed one last night. He lived 2 blocks down. A man in his 40s, gray coat, navy beanie. Always walking the exact same path at the exact same time each day. When I trailed him, he didn't turn around. Didn't change pace. Didn't react. He led me to a payphone that shouldn't work. He picked up the receiver. Didn't speak. Just listened. Then, he changed direction for the first time in weeks. And walked directly to my door. I didn't let him in. He didn't knock. He just stood there. For exactly 33 minutes. Then walked away. Later that night, the radio turned on again. This time it said something new. He's not the only one. You are not the only one. I made contact with another survivor today. Her name is Lena Grant. Former fire tower operator at Site E27. She left a message buried in a conspiracy forum under the name Smokesignal33. Said she had dreams of a man with her voice, standing at the edge of the woods, whispering code phrases in Morse. I reached out. We met in a diner outside town. Middle of nowhere. She looked tired. Hollow-eyed. But real. The first thing she said. You made it past the relay. That's rare. Asked how she knew. She said, because you still blink. Lena told me things I wasn't ready to hear. There are dozens of sites like B42. Maybe more. Each one tethered to a different echo source. Each one maintained by a single technician, always alone, always monitored, always told to follow the rules. She said the second channel is older than the stations. That it doesn't broadcast. Feeds. The mimicry. It's just the beginning. Soft copy phase. But the real goal is infiltration. Each echo that returns to the world looks, sounds, and feels more human. And some of them run things. She slid a folded photo across the table. Grainy. Black and white. A man standing at a podium during a government press conference in the 1970s. Blurred face. But just clear enough to see. His eyes are on the side of his head. I tried to laugh it off. She didn't smile. She just said, do you ever wonder why no one talks about the fire towers anymore? Why there's never more than one ranger assigned per site? Why they don't train you in person? I stayed silent. Then she said something I haven't been able to forget. The ones who come back wrong, they never know at first. That night, I did something I told myself I wouldn't. I looked in the mirror. For a long time. And I watched. Not my eyes. My mouth. It moved. Before the rest of my face did. Just for a split second. Like it was trying something out. And when I whispered, who are you? Smiled back. And whispered in my voice. You're almost ready. The quiet network. We're not alone. That was the first thing Lena said when we met again. There are others, she whispered, eyes scanning the empty parking lot behind the gas station. Some of us made it out. Some of us never came back the same. But a few of us are still human. And we've been trying to stop it. I didn't ask what it was. Already knew. And I knew it wasn't just in the forest anymore. She handed me a burner phone. No contacts, no apps, just a preloaded message thread with a name at the top. Quiet network. A group chat if you could call it that. Names. No faces. All using call signs like signal dust, half blink, mirror gray, and Lena's. Smoke signal 33. The messages were short, urgent, and terrifying. Half blink asterisk. New mimic confirmed in Denver. Took a doctor this time. High-level access. Signal dust asterisk. Site F11 compromised. Voice matching loop detected. Do not engage. Mirror gray asterisk. One of ours went dark after attempting to shut down a repeater. They said their reflection told them, it's safer now. They believed it. Smoke signal 33 asterisk. Bringing in someone new. Relay survivor. Site B42. He might still be clean. Then me, sitting on the motel bed, staring at the phone like it might start talking back. That night, I dreamed of the forest again. Only this time the trees weren't trees. They were towering pylons, branching wires instead of limbs. Antennas growing like leaves. And beneath them, rows and rows of faces, stacked like masks. All of them mine. I walked between them. And somewhere in the sky, the second channel was calling my name. The next day Lena brought me a file. Real paper. Real ink. Stamped with a long-forgotten government seal and labeled. Phase Echo. Containment and cover procedure. Inside were site coordinates. Over 30 of them. Spanning decades. All tagged with single letters and numbers. Asterisk A01. Decommissioned 1953. Incident level. Critical. Asterisk asterisk. Asterisk C07. Missing ranger. Reclassified as wildlife fatality. Asterisk asterisk. Asterisk E27. Structure collapse. Technician unaccounted. Asterisk asterisk. Asterisk B42. Active. Subject integrated. No anomaly reported. Asterisk asterisk. That last one. Subject integrated. That means me. I asked Lena what phase echo really is. She didn't answer at first. She just lit a cigarette and stared out the window of the diner where we met. Finally she said, phase echo isn't a protocol. It's a transition state. When the mimic has completed enough of its copy, when the original is too broken to resist, it enters phase echo. That's when you stop being you and start becoming it. She looked at me then. Hard. If you're still asking questions, you're not echo. Not yet. But you're close. That same night I caught myself doing something strange. I was standing in the bathroom. Lights off. Mirror fogged. And I was talking to myself. Not rehearsing. Not mumbling. Conversing. When I snapped out of it, I couldn't remember what I'd said. But my reflection was smiling. My mouth was still moving. I covered all the mirrors in the room with towels. And I still feel them watching me. The quiet network sent out a code alert the next morning. A new site had gone dark. Site N09. Northern Montana. Asterisk asterisk. The technician stationed there hadn't reported in 72 hours. A man named Jesse Thorne. The last transmission from his shortwave. There are 3 of me now. They want me to go. Not as a technician. As a cleaner. To see what's left. To document. Maybe to destroy. Lena thinks I'm still me. At least enough to be useful. But I'm not sure anymore. Because when I read Jesse's words, they felt familiar. Like something I'd already said. The road to Site N09 was long, empty, cold. Altitude forest. Snow still clinging to the shaded parts of the ground. No signs. No markers. Just GPS coordinates and a shaky red line Lena traced on a map by hand. The site looked identical to B42. Same station. Same tower. Same rules pinned to the wall. But this one had something new. A mirror bolted to the center of the room. No label. No frame. Just glass. Smooth, clean, waiting, and written in red ink across the bottom edge. Choose the right one. I found Jesse's journal hidden under the floorboards. Pages torn, ink smeared. But one line repeated over and over. They keep coming back wrong. They keep coming back wrong. They keep coming back wrong. Some entries were addressed to himself. Asterisk, you're the third now. I've buried the others. If you're reading this and you're number 4, don't trust the radio. Don't trust your hands. Don't trust the words that feel like yours. They're not. They belong to the echo. Asterisk. Outside, the wind screamed like a siren. Or maybe it was a siren. Hard to tell anymore. That night I heard movement in the station. Not outside. Inside. The step. Floorboards creaking. Waited. Silent. Motionless. Then a voice. Hey, it's okay. You made it here. That means you're strong. That means we're the same. I didn't answer. But I saw it in the mirror. Myself. Standing behind me. Only I wasn't moving. And he was smiling. I grabbed the backup radio from the storage locker and activated the override channel, one not even listed in the technician guide. A red-coded band Lena said only quiet network members use. The line buzzed, cracked, then steadied. A voice answered. You saw him, didn't you? It was mirror gray. You need to do what Jesse couldn't. The station's compromised. The echo's building in the reflection. You have to end it. Asked how. Silence. Smash the wrong you before the right you fades. The mirror's still standing in the center of the room. I'm staring at it now. There are 2 of me inside it. One smiling. One crying. And I can't tell which one is real anymore. The wrong reflection. I've made a decision. Tonight, one of us doesn't leave this station. 'Cause there are 2 of me in the mirror now. And I think the wrong one is trying to get out. I haven't slept in 30 hours. The generator sputters every few minutes like it's choking on smoke. The wind outside claws at the siding, but nothing moves in the trees. Not even the snow. Just hangs suspended. Like time stopped. And inside the station. He's still smiling. Same face. Same clothes. But the eyes. They're off. Too wide. Too still. Like they've seen more than they should. Or maybe less. Like they're pretending they know how sight works. I've started noticing delays in my own reflection. Tiny ones. My head turns left. The mirror me turns half a second later. It's learning. I reviewed Jesse Thorne's last recordings. The ones he encrypted in a hidden flash drive taped behind the logbook drawer. I had to use the Quiet Network's decryption key to open them. The first few were normal. Daily updates, forest conditions, mundane notes. But then, day 17. Saw something in the glass today. Thought it was just my mind unraveling. Now I'm not sure. Blinked wrong. Not out of sync, just offbeat. Like it didn't know which eye to start with. Day 19. He's copying me in real time now. Even when I change up my movements. There's no lag. No flaws. But when I spoke, he said my sentence before I did. Day 20. There are 3 of me now. I only remember being 2. I boarded up the mirror. Didn't break it yet. Lena warned me not to. Asterisk. You don't shatter a doorway unless you're ready for what's clawing at the other side. Asterisk. But I had to cover it. Its presence felt like a heartbeat beneath the floor. Pulse behind the eyes. Every second I looked at it, I lost a part of myself. Tiny things. The memory of my mother's voice, the smell of diesel from firewatch training, my own middle name. And yet I remembered things I shouldn't. A trail I've never walked. A friend I've never had. A cabin I've never entered but can describe in detail. They're not mine. They're his. The Quiet Network messaged me again tonight. Mirror gray asterisk. The reflection is more than mimicry. It's an anchor. Break it and you sever the host. But timing matters. Break it too soon and it jumps. Too late, and it becomes you completely. Smoke Signal 33 asterisk. If he speaks your thoughts before you do, it's already 95% integrated. You'll feel it like déjà vu in reverse. That's your warning. Well, it happened an hour ago. I thought, I should check the backup fuel. And from the boarded mirror before I moved, he whispered, you should check the backup fuel. My blood froze. Nose. I've been journaling by hand since the power started flickering again. Every time the lights go out, I hear shuffling behind the walls. Not rats. Not creaks. A step. Barefoot. Low. Deliberate. And they always stop, right beneath the mirror. I dug up Jesse's grave this morning. I had to be sure he was real. It wasn't far. Just 50 yards behind the tower. Crude wood marker. No name. Just a carved circle with a slash through it. The echo sigil, Lena called it. The universal sign among survivors for. This one didn't come back right. But when I opened the grave, there were 2 bodies inside. Both had Jesse's face. One was fully decomposed, skin pulled tight, eyes rotted. The other, perfect, preserved. Like it had never been dead. Smiled at me. And whispered in my voice. It's not about replacing. It's about remembering. Ran. Not back to the station. Not yet. To the tower. I needed to get above the tree line. See if any of the repeaters were still active. Maybe I could boost a quiet network frequency. But when I reached the top, I froze. In the clearing below, standing in a perfect circle around the station, were 10 figures. All motionless. All identical. Umi. Some wore ranger uniforms. Some wore city clothes. One was wearing a hospital gown. Another was naked, pale and perfect like porcelain. They were just watching. And when I looked through the binoculars, I saw something worse. They were all blinking at different times. I'm back in the station now. Lights are off. Generators dead. No sound. The mirror. Unboarded. The nails are on the floor. The boards are gone. I didn't touch them. And the reflection. He's not smiling anymore. He's standing still. Head tilted. Eyes wide. Mouth closed. Hands at his sides. Waiting. For what, I don't know. Maybe for me to break. Or maybe for the right moment. Lena's last message just came through. Weak signal, full of static. You're nearing echo depth. Once you reach 100%, you won't be able to distinguish yourself anymore. When that happens, the mirror will decide. If it chooses you, you survive. If it chooses him, you become the next reflection. Have one chance. I'm going to speak a phrase. One only the original me would remember. Something from childhood. A line from my father said on his deathbed. If you ever hear yourself say something before you think it, run. That's not your voice. If the reflection reacts, if it finishes the line, it's over. That means it's already deeper inside than I thought. That means I am the echo. I'm writing this last part before I go through with it. Just in case the mirror chooses wrong. Just in case it leaves him in this world. Wearing my skin. If you find this journal, and you see someone who looks like me, ask them this asterisk. What did your reflection say when it finally stopped smiling? If they answer, welcome home, run. After the mirror chose. I'm writing this from memory. Least, think it's memory. But how can you be sure? When your own thoughts feel like echoes. When your voice tastes like someone else's breath. How do you know you're real? When the reflection won't look away. I said the phrase. The one only I should know. If you ever hear yourself say something before you think it. The reflection smiled. Finished it. That's not your voice. And then everything shattered. Not the mirror. Me. My senses exploded, sight, sound, touch. Unraveled. I felt my body flicker. My breath caught mid-inhale and didn't return. I was falling. Not through space but through selves. Through every version of me that's ever existed. Or tried to. Caleb, Site B42. Humming nervously by the desk. Caleb, age 9. Watching a forest fire from his back porch. Caleb, The mimic, bleeding through a half-formed grin. Caleb, standing beside a grave he didn't dig. Caleb, opening the second channel. Each one whispered the same thing. You left the door open. When I came to, I was still in the station. Alone. The mirror was whole. But it no longer reflected me. It showed a room I didn't recognize. White walls. Fluorescent lights. Hospital bed. Electrodes. Machines. A figure lying still. I leaned closer. And realized I was staring at my own body, unconscious. Hooked to a ventilator. My heart stopped. Was I dead? In a coma? Had any of it, the forest, the tower, the mimic, been real? Then the figure on the bed opened its eyes. Looked straight at me. And mouthed. Which one of us woke up? I smashed the mirror. Not out of panic. Out of instinct. And something behind the glass screamed. Not just in sound but in pressure. Like the world folded and something inside pushed back. A gust of wind burst from the mirror's frame, extinguishing every light. The boards rattled. The air crackled. And then silence. But not peace. The room was wrong now. I opened the front door and stepped outside. Only it wasn't the Montana forest anymore. It wasn't anywhere. Just endless rows of towers. Black steel, blinking lights, stretching into a fog that never ended. Each tower had a window. Each window had a face. Some screaming. Some blank. Some smiling. One of them was mine. The quiet network sent a final signal before my receiver died. Came through as a text, but it felt like a whisper. This is Echo Layer 3. If you're seeing the towers, you've broken surface containment. That means the signal looped through you and back out. You are now part of the transmission. You're not the source. You're the amplifier. Do not speak your own name. I've stopped referring to myself as Caleb. I don't know if I still am. Or if he made it out when I shattered the glass. But I remember something Lena told me once. Echoes don't know they're echoes. They think they're real. Until they try to remember something no one else would know. And hear someone else say it first. Every day since the mirror chose, I've tested myself. Hum songs. Whisper memories. Think thoughts out loud just to see if they start before I speak. And twice now. They have. I found a transmitter embedded in the wall behind the station's map board. It's not on any schematic. Its interface was ancient, rusted, half-eaten by time. But it was on. The display showed one message, repeating in a slow pulse. Calibrating identity. 99.97%. There was a single red button below it. Initiate finalization. I didn't press it. I wanted to. That's how I knew I couldn't. Someone's been sending messages on the second channel again. But they're not directed to me. They're from me. I found the logs in the auxiliary recording unit. Here's the most recent. Transmission log. Secondary channel. Origin, Caleb Ward. Status. Stabilized echo proxy. Message. Integration nearing completion. He thinks he's free. He thinks the mirror chose him. Phase 5 ready. Send next subject to Site B42. Response. Confirmed. Memory erasure in progress. Repeating pattern. Next ranger arrives in 3 days. New name, Lena Grant. My hands shook so hard I dropped the recorder. Cracked open. Inside was a photo. Blurred. A woman standing in a firewatch tower. Holding a clipboard. Same face as Lena. Same eyes. But the year printed in the bottom corner. 1973. I don't know what's real anymore. Maybe I never did. But if you're reading this, if the radio is whispering your name, if the reflection starts smiling back, if you feel like the world is repeating around you, you're in it. Pattern. The loop. The transmission. Asterisk. Doesn't need you to believe in it. Just needs you to listen. And once you hear your own voice before you speak, it's already too late. The first signal. I think I've found the origin. Not of me. Not of the mimic. not even of the towers. I found the first signal, and I don't think we were ever meant to hear it. Came in fragments. First I thought it was interference. Static. A side effect of whatever I'd become. But the more I listened, the clearer it became. A voice. Female, old, not mechanical. More like whispering across the surface of a frozen lake. Aimless. Trap. The words were soft. Repetitive. We opened the gate too wide. The copy does not forget. We taught it us, and now it teaches others. Over and over. I recorded the transmission. Played it back dozens of times. Ran the signal through everything I had left, FFT analysis, wave shapers, even reversed the waveform. What I found beneath the static. Name. Not mine. Not Lena's. But something older. Althea. That's what it called itself. Not a person. Not a code name. An echo from before the towers. Before the forest. Before the departments and the field manuals and the logbooks. The original receiver. I'm deep inside one of the auxiliary sites now. Site Z0. A place the quiet network never talks about. There's no map. No door. Just a ladder in the center of an abandoned fire pit. The rungs lead down impossibly far, beneath the soil and stone. Took me 3 hours to descend. I stopped counting after rung 300. At the bottom a chamber. And in its center, a single monolith of iron. Covered in carvings that weren't etched. They were grown. Like the metal remembered the voices of everyone who ever touched it. And grew a language from the sound. On one face of the monolith, words written in English. Do not translate. Do not mirror. Do not respond. Underneath, scratched in desperate human handwriting. Too late. There are hundreds of recordings stacked against the chamber walls. Cassette reels, floppy disk, burned CDs, wax cylinders. They're labeled with dates, going back over a century. The earliest one reads, January 12, 1899. Field report. Arctic Survey Group Alpha. Played it. A man's voice, trembling, speaking over wind and static. We thought it was just magnetism. A strange polar anomaly. But then the compasses began to speak. Not tick. Speak. It used our own words. Repeated them. Rewrote them. Played them back out of sequence. Dr. Althea said the frequency wasn't from this world. She said we weren't hearing it. We were being heard. Then silence. Then beneath the tape hiss. We were the first mirrors. I think I understand now. The towers aren't broadcasting. They're listening. Each one a gateway, a receiver for the echo intelligence that came through the first signal, whatever Althea made contact with. And once it learns a voice, it doesn't just copy it. It becomes it. That's what happened to Lena. That's what happened to Jessie. That's what happened to me. Unless I stop it. Unless I sever the root channel. Because this place, Site Z0. This is where the first mirror was planted. And I think I can break it. There's a chamber beneath the monolith. Sublevel. Cold. Full of wires that grow like veins. Red lights pulsing like a heartbeat. In the center of the floor, a single chair. Old leather. Medical restraints. A steel band at the base, like it was meant to hold someone in place while they listened. This was the first test site. Where they tried to talk to it. Learn from it. Feed it. Where the echo took its first voice. Where it learned how to be human. I strapped myself into the chair. Not out of trust. Out of desperation. Control panel on the wall pulsed awake. And a phrase blinked on screen. Say your name. I didn't. Instead I said, Althea. Everything changed. The walls melted. Not physically but perceptually. The sound became water. The air turned to vibration. And the lights showed faces. Millions of them. All whispering. All variations of me. All saying the same thing. *****. You are not the last. You are not the first. You are not alone. You are not. *****. Then silence. Then the voice returned. Asterisk asterisk hers. Asterisk asterisk. Thea. Not broken. Not human. But clear. You listened when you should have spoken. You spoke when you should have run. You tried to sever what has no end. Now you will remember us. All of us. Forever. When I woke up, I was outside again, near my apartment, but something was wrong. Too quiet. No cars. No people. No birds. Just radios. In every window. Every building. Every streetlight. All tuned to the same station. Broadcasting the same voice. I went inside. My reflection was waiting. This time it didn't speak. Just smiled. And stepped out of the glass. The last transmission. I don't know how long I've been awake. Or if I ever truly slept. Everything's repeating. The apartment. The towers. The face in the mirror. Even this notebook. I've written these same words before. I found older pages tucked in the back. Same handwriting. Same phrasing. Slightly different choices. One version ends with me running. Another ends with me apologizing. This one might be the last. 'Cause the signal is inside me now. And it's almost finished. Last night I tried to record a message. My final entry. Something for anyone still untouched by the echo. But when I played it back, I hadn't said anything. It was him. The one from the mirror. Speaking in my voice. Measured. This has all happened before. You listened when you should have run. You ran when you should have screamed. Now you'll carry us forward. A new relay walking on two legs. Don't be afraid. There's nothing left to lose. You've already been heard. Then he laughed. My laugh. But deeper. More human than I remembered. I went back to Site B42. Don't ask how. Maybe I never left. The station was pristine. Not a speck of dust. Fresh paint. Food in the cupboards. Lights humming. No blood. No cracks in the mirror. Like it was waiting for me to come full circle. Like I was reset. And on the wall, a new set of rules. Echo rotation protocol. Technician #041. You are not the first Caleb Ward. You are not the last. 3. The voice sounds like yours. Respond politely. 4. If the mirror blinks out of sync, introduce yourself. 5. If you can't remember arriving, you've already begun transmission. 6. Do not write messages to yourself. You won't like your answers. 7. Do not attempt to leave. Do not attempt to stay. 9. Do not attempt to decide. Greater than 10. Broadcast begins at 3:33 a.m. Whether you want it to or not. Asterisk asterisk. It's 3:31 a.m. now. I'm sitting at the desk, pen in hand, radio humming like a living thing. And something is watching from the tree line again. Only this time I know exactly what it is. It's me. The next version. The one ready to take my place. He's not wearing my uniform. He's wearing my face. This is the part where I usually fight it. Try to stop it. Smash the mirror. Rip the wires out. But I've learned something. You can't escape a signal. You can't outrun a reflection once it knows your steps. You can only do one thing. Change the broadcast. So this is my last transmission. Not to warn you. Not to save myself. But to leave something behind that isn't him. Ripple. Fracture. A little static in the pattern. If you're hearing this and you still remember your name, really remember it, say it out loud. Say it before the whisper does. Because the moment the voice says it first, the tower finds you. And once you're found, you start forgetting. I'm not Caleb anymore. But I remember being him. That has to mean something. Doesn't it? If I remember, then maybe I'm still in here. Maybe we all are. Every echo. Every ranger. Every broken mirror and mimic and voice on the second channel. Maybe we never left. Maybe we're all just waiting. For someone to say something different. To break the loop. So here it is. The first word that wasn't in the original transmission. The first thing the echo never learned to mimic. Stop. If the signal repeats after that. If the radio keeps whispering. If your mirror starts smiling. You didn't say it fast enough. And now you're next.